Welcome to Odyssey Media's Business Sanctuary. What's a business sanctuary? It's a safe and trusted space that we created for women to update their skills online during their private time. The first series featured in the Business Sanctuary is sponsored by the Coca-Cola 5x20 initiative. They plan to empower 5 million women by the year 2020. Follow me as you meet 3 amazing Odyssey women as we enter the Business Sanctuary. I get thousands of emails from young women like Amina. Amina is in that very first important phase, how to launch a successful business. Come with me as we listen to Amina and how she put her business on the path to success. Hello, and as promised, I have an exciting young entrepreneur here with me today. Welcome, Amina.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're absolutely welcome. So listen, right off the bat, I don't have the time to understand what you kids do. What is your business?
So my business is called the Melanin Mixer. So we are an online platform that I created to essentially provide insight and support for entrepreneurs and creators of color to monetize their businesses in the digital space.
Okay, so now explain to this 57-year-old entrepreneur, what did that mean?
So essentially what that means is, so my background is in marketing and PR. Right now I work full-time also as an event marketer for a health tech company. So what I did with the Melanin Mixer is, in my process of becoming an entrepreneur, I had to navigate a lot of different challenges and setbacks that I did on my own without any help from anyone else. So the purpose of the Melanin Mixer is to provide those creators and entrepreneurs with those insights, with that information, to really elevate them and monetize their businesses in the digital space, because digital is of course a growing landscape. It's an opportunity to reach more customers in targeted ways, and of course capitalize on smaller resources to reach more people and of course make more money.
Okay, so what I'm hearing that I love is that you pretty much got to what it is that you want to do by the bumps and obstacles that you had to get over.
Absolutely.
So you figured out, hey, if I'm going through this, then somebody else is going through this.
Absolutely.
Got you. So one of the things I'm fascinated by, I get thousands of emails from young women who say, I'm going to start a business and I'm going to keep my job. Now, some companies have embargoes against that, but yours and others don't, because they realize that's the new environment.
Yep.
What's it like, and can you give 100% to the job that you 9 to 5 and the sidekick job that you're also starting your own business?
So essentially I'm able to do both because I work for an organization that is flexible, and they were founded on the principles of entrepreneurship.
Okay, so wait a minute. So they're okay with all of their employees doing these side things and starting their own companies and working for them?
Yes, they are.
Wow, that is a new environment. Yes. That's not my company.
Yes, so actually it's interesting because a lot of the people that I work with are younger than me, which is a first.
You're 31.
Oh, yes. And there's people there that are 22 and 23, and I feel like the old one. So a lot of them are very innovative, and they started their own companies already. And really what it does is entrepreneurship builds those critical thinking skills. And those are the kind of people that my company wants those are the kind of people my company wants working for them, are people that are able to build critical thinking skills that can build something from the ground up, as opposed to just taking instruction.
This is really interesting. So your entrepreneur journey is also fostered by the company that you work with.
Yes.
That's amazing. So tell me this. You provide these platforms, you help people, you say monetize, I say make money off the digital stream. Okay, come up with a digital revenue stream.
Yep.
And you're very passionate about it. How do you break through the noise level? Every day, 100 women start a digital marketing company, a blog of this. How will you, because you're young in your business, break through the noise level and become, that superstar valued company?
So the biggest piece of that is branding. And I was fortunate enough to go to school for marketing and advertising and PR. So I built that foundation. So for me, it's understanding that branding is key. when trying to stand out in anything, which is why Rihanna started her own beauty line and Kim Kardashian can start a makeup company. The difference is all key in the branding. So if you are able to separate yourself and resonate with your target audience, that's the difference between someone that's going to kind of get lost in the sauce and someone that's going to stand out more.
So, Amina, you are well put together. You're energetic. You're working basically 2 jobs. You're on fire. And I was really happy to hear you say, when I do start my family, because so many of us in my generation, we delayed having kids and getting married until that perfect time. So have you planned as an entrepreneur for what will happen when you have a kid, when you have a partner? Or maybe you're going to be one of those girls that doesn't even need a partner, just does it all by herself. The amount of time you're devoting to 2 businesses right now is a lot. What do you do when you have that family and you want to take that break?
So I think for me, that's something that I'm absolutely, that's honestly the whole purpose of me building this business, is so I can have a family and they won't have the challenges that I had when I was going to school, when I was doing my master's, and even more so when my mom was going to school and doing her master's. My parents, my mom did her master's while she had already her 3 kids already. And we actually were in school with her when she was at Fordham, and she had to bring us to class sometimes if my grandmother couldn't watch us. So for me, I think it's less about, for me, in terms of preparing myself for that when I do have my family, it's really just laying that foundation, laying that groundwork in advance so your business is able to run itself. And then once you do that, honestly, especially working on digital channels, it's easy to do that from home. You don't necessarily need to be in a physical space to do that.
Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but somewhere in this room people can't see is Erica Ortiz, who ran our IT strategy. And if you think that it's easier to work digitally from home with a 9-month-old baby screaming in the phone, which hers does, then you've got another story coming. But I'm glad to hear you at least thinking about it, because sometimes that can sneak up on especially young women, and that can cause that work balance overload.
Yes.
So you're in the early throes of the business. What are you doing to prepare for when you're going to need seed money or outside capital to take that business to the next level?
So the first thing you always want to have is a business plan.
Glad to hear that.
Absolutely. You want to have a business plan. You want to have your financials together. You want to have all those things in place, because when you do present to investors, they want to know that you have a sound business. They want to know that you have a digital presence that's professional. All of those things need to be in place. So when you do get in front of angel investors, they say, okay, well, this is a business that's serious. This is a business that's going to sustain itself. So I think the first things first is laying that foundation, making sure that you have the framework for a successful business, because people are not going to take you seriously if your financials aren't right.
Now, let me ask you this. Do you plan to go for an investment of capital? Do you plan to get a credit line? Do you have goals in mind that say, once I hit this in the number of clients and revenue, I'm going to go ask for some money? Is that part of your plan?
So I was able to get loans from Harlem Commonwealth Council as well as Axion. And both of those services provide low interest loans for entrepreneurs.
So this is really interesting, and I love what you did, because I think that people don't go to local sources enough. You live in this surrounding community, you work in the surrounding community, and there are a lot of microloans, low interest loans, and seed money for women like you.
Yes.
And so let me just ask, do you expect to get rich from this business?
I think, you know what, for me, it's really, I think wealthy is probably the better term.
That's a good one.
Yes. I think wealthy is probably the better term, because I want something that I can pass on to my children. So being wealthy is probably more important, something that's sustainable so that they can carry that legacy on for generations to come.
One of the things I'm impressed with you about is you did not leave your job to start a company and say, I'll make enough money right out the bat. What made you say, I got to do both of these at the same time?
I think it's about being responsible and fiscally responsible and also mentally responsible. Because what happens a lot of times is, with social media, people think that entrepreneurship is something you just get up and you do without a plan. And you just can't do that. You have to have some type of stability, because that also helps you to maintain your creativity. If you're stressed out, if you're upset, if you feel like you can't figure out what the next step is, that a lot of the times comes from financial stress. So I think for me, it was maintaining my full-time job while also pursuing this on the side. It allows me to still not feel those stresses that you typically get as an entrepreneur, bootstrapping everything.
Of course. And one of the things I'm really proud to have you say that I hope that many of our young women and college students who watch these videos is you just can't jump out and own a social media company. We're not going to have too many Mark Zuckerbergs. We aren't. And so the discipline, which is a thread that keeps going in and out of all the women that I'm interviewing, of a goal, a plan, working toward it, the sacrifices that you make is phenomenal. I want to end with this. This is a crazy economy. Disruption happens on a daily basis. What happens if what you're working on gets disrupted by an Amazon-like company that owns digital marketing? Have you planned for that?
So I think you plan for that by always being in a state of constant learning and growth. For me, as much as I know about marketing, there's so much more to learn. You can never rest on your laurels. You can never be a person that says, well, I already know this already. You don't know what you don't know. And I feel like you have to constantly be in a state of growing, learning, understanding, and being at, the cusp of anything new that's happening. And I think for me, that's what I've always been, because that's how you find out what's always going to be coming around the corner.
Great. Well, Amina, I got to tell you something. You're one to watch. Still don't quite know what you do, but it sounds great.
Thank
and
you.
People are paying money for it. Yes. So I know that you're going to succeed. The Odyssey women are going to be here for you. You're becoming a part of our younger Odyssey audience that we absolutely love, and I wish you much success. Give me 2 tips for young women that are watching this online workshop on how they ought to do it and launch a business.
Discipline and balance.
So discipline and balance. Amina, that's a common thread that keeps running through all the conversations I'm having with other entrepreneurs. I know you're going to be extremely successful. You're one to watch. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you so much, Linda.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Coca-Cola 5x20 Initiative, for all that you do for women around the world and your commitment to small business owners. Don't forget to check out our second series. Thanks again for watching.